something here. These gentlemen don't even know where I'm going with this. Okay? What I want is for you to feed me 2 forehands. Watch my technique. And I'm not joking about this. I was a world-class player. I'm not a world-class player now, but a basic technique. Just feed me a few forehands. Watch. One more. One more. How the heck did I miss that ball? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, now, I want you to watch Alex hit. And I'm being very serious. Alex, go ahead and hit the ball. Forehands. Hit it. Let me see you hit it. Yes. Rip it. He doesn't know what I'm asking. Now, very good. You were probably kind of impressed with my racket and speed. I know. I get it. What are you laughing at? No, exactly. Here's the point, and this is the key. Some of the fundamental principles, we did exactly the same. But do you know the generation? How old are you? 27. I am 33 years older than he is. There's a young guy laughing at me out there. No, I'm 33 years. But how could there possibly be fundamental principles that are the same? Well, you know what? I saw a video the other day. It was a great backhand. And it was Brinka or whatever. He was hitting a backhand. He was doing this open stance. He's hitting it like that. And I saw another backhand. And this guy's ripping it. I'm not kidding you. I'm not exaggerating. Open stance and hitting it like this. I couldn't believe he's ripping it. You know what that was? Don Budge. For those who are young, do you know what Don Budge is? Don Budge is probably 60 years ago. So one of the things that I want to go over are the fundamental principles that transcend time, that apply to every level, that apply to the collegiate players, that applies to the 10-year-olds, that applies to players that are top on your team, bottom on your team. Before I'm working with a player before the finals of a Grand Slam, I'm going over some of the similar things. That's what I want to highlight. And I picked out, you see the outline there. I picked out 2 really exciting and exotic fundamentals. Did you see that? What did I put down there? I mean, these are really, really exotic. Ball watching and split step. Really? Why would I get into this? I'll explain to you in a minute. Okay. So let's get started here. Alex, I want you to hit a little bit side to side, okay? And just take your time and rip some balls side to side. I just want you to get a feel for his ball striking. He's really a talented young man. If I met him younger, this is somebody that in my opinion, had world-class potential. Now, okay, one of the things you notice the way he hits the ball, I'm going to go over characteristics of the fundamental principles of optimum technique. I'm going to zip through this really quickly. Now, I spent a lot of time on this. 1, the rhythmic, repeatable, and adaptable. They're very rhythmic. You notice how rhythmic he is? Go ahead and hit a couple more. Notice his rhythm and how smooth he is. This is basically what you see on the Pro Tour you watch players hit. Okay? Second, stop a second. Does it look complicated? Does it ever look complicated when you watch Djokovic? Does it ever look complicated when you watch a great serve where they got 50 hitches and so on? No. So I say it's fairly simplistic. I say that to you folks because you are experienced coaches. The third, it's biomechanically efficient, which ties right in with the simplicity. It's biomechanically efficient, smooth, it prevents injuries, it maximizes power. This is a big one. It's effective at slow speeds and fast speeds. I watch players, and in 30 seconds, half of the time I can tell what level of player they are before they hit 4 balls. Because there's certain characteristics that they don't have, and I said, no shot, not at a high speed. Okay, and they're tactically flexible and versatile, so they can do anything. Can you play a high and heavy ball? Even that, hit them a little deeper. Yeah, high and heavy. Putting pressure. It's a nice ball. That's good. He's got a nice stroke, doesn't he? Okay, good. And here is, if you understand where I'm going, it's personally compatible. It ties in with their personality, their physical attributes. It never fights against it. So those are the characteristics. Finally. And then we'll get hit. Why do you think? Just beat me. I'm gonna split. I'm gonna do the demo. I'm gonna split. Watch me. I'm splitting. I'm watching the ball. Okay. Thank you very much. That's the end of my presentation. Why would I pick these two? What am I doing out here? Why do I pick these two? And I hope you stay with me here, because this is all my years of coaching. Because when somebody learns to watch the ball properly and well on the hit, and they split properly, I believe they are the two most important fundamentals in the game, and that means also that they are the most significant psychological beneficial factors that you can do on a court, psychologically. Now you're saying to me, no way, but I'm going to go on here and present, and I'm telling you, if you are focused on the hit, on the hitting right on the contact, and you are splitting properly, you are absolutely in the moment, and you are psychologically where you need to be. I am telling you, you can look 3, 4 courts down watching matches and say, choking, not choking, choking, just on those 2 factors alone. Think about that for a minute. And I am absolutely serious. I'm not overstating from my perspective. Now, let's go to the hitting. Watching the ball. I'm going to demo here. Now you're gonna come up and feed to me, and then I'm gonna demo, because there are a couple things that I am not an expert on the visual system. I study it, but you have 2 primary types. You have your central vision, and this is, as a coach, you need to know this, in my view, as a coach. The players only need to know a little bit. There are a few basic comments. Central vision and peripheral vision. Now, first thing, when a player's playing, watch my face. How many times you see this? And watch me. Do not watch the ball. And you see your players do that. The face is tight. They're tight. All of you, try to tighten your face and be relaxed with your body. It's not happening. So watch what I'm doing here. Okay, what are the negative effects of that? Tension. This is really important. Stay with me here. What are the negative effects of that? This is critical that you know this. Spending too much energy. Not what I'm looking for. Breathing. Stop. I want you to know something. As your player's tension elevates towards fear, they lose the quality of their peripheral vision. It starts diminishing. What does that mean? does it mean if you start losing? You have your central vision, which is the part where I'm gazing right here. Watch my eyes right on the target. Okay? But if I'm tense, I lose what my peripheral skills to a great extent. This is one of the number one reasons why. How many of you have, it's a big point. Your team, it's on the line. He's got the forehand. He's right there. It's an easy shot. And he goes, and he shanks it wide. None of you have experienced that? How many times you seen that? They get tight and they shank. Well, there's a very specific reason with the visual system why they do that. So, a couple things that I want to go over. Now, Greg, you're going to go all the way back, and I'm going to explain to you. When Greg is hitting, he's going to stand in a corner, and Alex is going to move. Go ahead and hit. Now, stay over with me. When the ball gets close to gets close to Greg, his visual system is drawing in an enormous amount of information. It's not focused just in on the ball. And I'm not trying to be overly technical. This is for coaches to understand, not for the players. So as he's about to hit the ball, he's hitting the ball right before the visual system, the peripheral vision is gathering enormous information. Central is more focused on the ball. Now, I'm getting to some points. There we go. Watch again. See, right as the ball is being hit, he's seeing more than just the ball right here. That's the first thing. Now, secondly, and you'll see why this becomes so important. From the central vision, as he comes here, he's going to see it okay. What do you think happens if he gets tight and nervous? This may change the way you approach your players when you know they're scared. It narrows the vision. Their ability to perceive the tracking of the ball diminishes. So they have difficulty gauging the ball coming forward. How many of you have been in a movie theater? They put the lights out and they have something coming at you. You can't tell. That's because you have no silent background. So when your player is unbelievably scared and you go out on the court, do you think you want to tell him what he should do tactically? I'd be trying to relax him. Okay, that's the second thing. Go ahead. They hit a couple more. So as the ball's coming, if Alex is nice and relaxed here, so he's seeing the ball well. He's tracking it well. Now, here's the third thing with the peripheral vision that's important to know. I'm going to mention something to you. I'm going to make a statement here in a minute. I'm going to upset a lot of people. But, all right. So, right here when I hit, okay, I'll go right here. See, when I'm here, how do I know where to hit the ball? If my eyes are here, how do I know where to hit the ball? Does anyone know? Well, how does the brain know? If I'm looking here, how does it know what's there? It knows what's there based on what the visual system sees here. If there was no markings anywhere and no markings, it wouldn't know where to go. It'd have a general rule, a general idea. So again, the peripheral vision being relaxed and focused, the facial muscles. Who's the most relaxed guy you've seen hit the ball? Roger. Oh, yeah, he's the best of all time. Not a coincidence. You know who else was unbelievable that way? Four. Chris Evert. Billie Jean King. Djokovic on his backhand, not so much on his forehand. Nadal. Now, they'll go like this and exert energy, but there's not so much tension in their face when they're hitting. And right here, if you don't have great peripheral vision, then you're not great at projecting exactly where to go. And let me show you something. I've never showed this probably before because I do this at the academy. This is more practical. This is one of the, in my opinion, the drills. I'm going to say something about drilling. I don't. Okay? Now, I tell my kids, they are not allowed to look at this ball. Why? Because when they go down here like this, they're using their central vision for what the peripheral vision should be doing. And I just explained to you how important it is. So I tell them they have to hit, come around here. I know where this is. Look, I'm looking up here because I know where I'm at. I can dance around the balls, maybe could get a little bit closer because I know where I am. So if I come over here and I'm focused here and I'm hitting, I know where the court is. And I'm going to make one other statement. Maybe I should do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. I think all of this stuff with these things on the ground and these ladders, I think is garbage. Sorry, I don't like it. Tell me where we play athletically and we go, really? Seriously? What do we do in our sport where we're like this? Oh, I was watching some ballet dancers the other day and they were all like this. No. I don't believe in that. I believe the eyes should be up and movement should be trained accordingly. This is where we move, not this way. So why do we train looking down? Players should look up and understand their environment when they are training. So, for me personally, I don't like that set of drills. Okay, so I've said enough, probably offended enough people. Okay, I did that. Okay. Now, the visual system, fastest way, some of the most important things. You're going to move Alex around quite a bit, sorry. Yeah, you can look. You better not look down. I'll fire a ball at you. Okay, so just focus on Alex because that's the only way you get the full breadth of what we're doing. Just move him around. And as I said, he is he's a good hitter of the ball. He can move. Now, what I want him aware of, and this gets a little bit ahead, I want him focused I don't want him focused on where the ball's going, not consciously. I don't want conscious thought process. How many watch a player and they go like this and they stumble on a court? Really good athlete. You ever had that? What do you think happens? What do you think's happening like that? How many times do you see the pros do that, where they stumble and fall somewhere kind of? Not that often, but occasionally. What do you think is happening when they do that? Change their mind? How about, I don't know that I would say they may have changed their mind. I'm just telling you now, they are not in a subconscious process. They are consciously trying to think of where the ball's going, what's going to happen, and it does not work. That's why they call, when players are playing great, what do they call it? Zone, flow, whatever. But I can assure you, they're not in conscious thought process. So, when you see your athlete leaning and stumbling in one direction, the other direction, they're out of the moment. So, I want him focused on when the person is hitting the ball, go ahead, and that gets him prepared right at the correct time to absorb information. Now, he won't even be consciously thinking about that, but it's an easy way to grasp and to get him without trying to guess where the ball is going. The other thing that I'm looking for, hold on, when he goes to move, to maximize the visual system, he's really strong, and the pros are strong. They come down in here, upper body, the chin is up, and as they move, there's very, very little bopping. Because if you're going like this, it's very tough to track a ball. So you want chin up, and they split. I actually like a term. I'm not saying this is just me personally. I like them up with the hands, down with the body, and here more like this. And even a backhand coming up a little bit, but that's not a fundamental principle. But this is chin up, moving so that it's like a ballet dance at the highest levels. He's got to hit. I'll do it again slowly, but I come out in here, I'm down, load, very little movement, chin up. That is optimal for tracking the ball. That's what I mean by watching the ball. Watching the ball properly is not about just when it's hit here on the strings here. That's a fallacy. That's a myopic perspective. I'm with college coaches, so I can use good words. Very, very, very narrow perspective. It's about how you track the ball, what kind of information you read from your opponent. And I'm going to get to the end. I'm going to show you how to simply do this. Okay, a couple more. This is perfection right here because we did a video. Don't let me down now, Alex. Show me good watch the ball. Come on now. Yeah, so we're just follow Alex. Don't watch the ball. Sorry about that, Greg. You're a wonderful player, but right now we're not highlighting him. Now I'm going to say one other thing. When do you think? Okay, now I'm going to surprise Greg here. Okay, these are all important points. I'm going to have to zip. Okay. All right. I'm going to feed you a ball. There's no trick to this. If I gave you your choice, this is a really important part of my talk. If I gave you your choice and he does not know what I'm going to ask him, to hit, you can hit either way. No trick. Just choose where you want to hit and hit it there. However, once you make that decision, okay, I'll feed you the ball. Once you make the decision, say now. Okay? Here we go. Good. Again. Okay, what do you notice? Makes that decision pretty quickly. Most players do. Don't forget that. The decision on having a target is made well in advance. All right? So now I'm going to go to the specifics of ball watching. This is pretty technical, but also it's very simple. Number one, I'm going to demo this. Greg, can you bring the card up and number one, from my perspective, and this is one of the poorest things I think that most American players certainly do, is you get a lot of this. Watch me, not the ball. When, no disrespect to Roddick, who was a great player. When he was 17, I tried to convince him he's got to work on watching the ball. And, closer, keeping his head still. But I wasn't particularly close then. He's a nice guy, but we weren't very close. And it's one of the reasons why he always got beat up with Federer. Because when you pull your head out, tell me, how many of your players want to take a ball on the rise when they're like this? Ain't happening. You know who else has that problem? Andy Murray had that problem. Great player, but really could win 3 or 4 more Grand Slams, and a lot of times his forehand lets him down. So, number one, head position, right here towards the contact point and slightly out front. Watch, I'll hit one, all slow motion. I mean, I really can explode on the ball, but I don't want to display that right now. So I'm going to keep my head. I have no respect. There you go, watch. See, now my head's there, right out front. Go ahead. And there are a couple things I'm going to say here in a second. Right out front. And I'm watching the ball on the hit. Now, do I turn my head on the hit? Like this? Oh boy, how many shots have you seen like that? The head and the visual system needs to stay at the contact point slightly after the hit. Watch. Right here, two separate moves. It is not one move. If you want to be great, if you want your player to be totally absorbed in the moment, if you want your player to be an incredible pressure player, teach him this. Head still, and then up. Head still, and then up. Now, those are two fundamentals. Now, how long you keep your head there, a split second, I'll share with you what I tell my players. This you can take it or leave it. I don't necessarily put this quite at the level of a fundamental principle. I will say keeping the eyes there slightly after the hit is. Let me digress. Here's what you want to be careful about. Watch this. My head staying there too long and me swinging with just my arm. Go ahead. Okay? That's dangerous for the stroke. So, I want the head out here, stays there until the back shoulder drives into the chin. Watch, I'll do one fairly fast. I'm gonna have Alex do one. Watch this. Head stays still, and then I come out. You see how it drives into it? It would be the same thing. I have a one hand and backhand, but the same thing on the backhand. Boom, and then up. One more. And then up. Djokovic, Murray, Nadal, Chris Everett, Serena Williams, not quite as good. The best of the best keep their chin there till the back shoulder drives into the chin. On the forehand, not as many, but who are the two best forehands of all time? Three best. Who would you say? Three best forehands of all time. Give me a name. Sampras? Yeah. Who else? Federer? Yeah. Nadal's pretty darn good. And Borg had a great forehand. All four are great ball watchers, and all four will tend to have the shoulder come into the chin before they drive up. Very important. Okay, so watch Alex do this really fast. Now, he's got great racket at speed. This is, I'm not flattering him here, but he has world-class racket at speed. Yeah, keep that chin there. And then go ahead and rip it. Now, you see how solid, stop. You see how solid that looked? Was that a beautiful stroke or what? I mean, give him a round of applause. He's right there. He's exploding. Now, why is this so critical? Aside from the fact that mentally you're here in a moment. Well, I'll tell you why. Because how many of your players, I was taught like this. Here. How many, the older guys and gals in the group, we were taught like this. There was mostly linear movement. That's not the way it is now. There's a lot of rotational force with players exploding. If this head is moving, they are totally out of control. And that's why these guys look so incredibly smooth. Their head is still, the visual system is here on the hit. And when your players, if they have nice technique and you see them shanking, it has more to do with them being out of the moment psychologically and losing control in the visual system. By the way, about 80% of the brain's information is processed through the visual system. You control the visual system, and you're in pretty good shape. Okay. All right, let me see where I'm at here, because I know I'm running late. All right, now I'm going to tie it together. Are you with me here? You may not agree with me on this. We have so many distinguished people out here. I'm feeling stressed that they may not agree with me. No, not really. I do it the way I think is. Trust me, I love hearing everyone's perspective. but I'm not afraid to be vulnerable and say what I truly believe. This gets back, remember what I said before about the target? The target, this is to finish this whole concept. And I was saying how the target was established early, okay? Well, then I believe that on the hit, if you could feed me a ball, I'm going to make a decision. I'll just tell you when. Now, I made the decision I was going down a line. That's a little bit, it's pretty early. Alex, I want him to have a target, but that's established early. But right here, and listen to me closely here, right here, if you said, my life depends on me making the shot, now I'm feeling stressed. Okay. And I've got to make this ball. Do you think I'm going to focus on a target down there? I know I have a target. Here, put a ball, just one ball down there. Not too close to the line. What are you trying to do? Make me look bad? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so that's my target. There's no way on the hit I'm focused on there. No way. I'm focused in on where? I'm using, how many of you ever shot a bow and arrow or gun, clay shooting or something like that? Do they say, pull, and the person shoots from down here? What do? They pull it close and they have sights or a gauge. I believe this is where the net needs to be used as a gauge. So watch me right here. I am literally focused and at the net. I know where my target is, and I'm using the net as my gauge, whether it be the pace, the spin, and so on, to get the ball there. I literally can see, and I'm not kidding, I do it every day, I know what the player's thinking on the hit. Period. I can see it in their eyes. I can see when they're down out of the moment. So, you try a few. Let's say I want you right there using the net as a gauge. I want you to rip it down a line. And I'm going to know if you lost your focus or not. So I don't want you to feel any pressure, but I'm going to lose my cheery personality. Yep. Where's the net? Now stop. Were you able to get your focus right here on the hit and use the net? No. I can tell right away. You didn't. Go ahead. Let's go. Let's see if we can see a difference. Now, yep, stay right there. Yep. Where's the net? Get it up and down. Yes. Now, if you ever watch the best of the best, real close, up close, on the court, and I've been blessed to do that. I've been blessed to play a lot of great players, but blessed to be on the court, these players. And you watch their eyes, you can see them working the ball right here. And you can see them, their eyes are open wide, no squinting, wide. And they have their target, but that's established early. And they zero in using the net, the sidelines as their gauge. And that's when, can you go back just to 2 or 3 balls with him? Putting Greg under a lot of pressure here because he hasn't hit much. So it's kind of like coming off the bench in the NBA. You know, I say go out there and shoot a 3. Just don't get hurt with those balls. You guys focus in. You don't have to hit hard. The last 2 were excellent. Now, you see his head was there. Were you focused there? Nope. And you'll see, almost every time he misses, he'll tell you he lost his focus. The idea is to train them to stay zeroed in right here on the hit and they have targets and using that net as the gauge. Obviously, they have the sidelines. Because the baseline, it's not that it's irrelevant. If your target is here, the baseline's not relevant. Using the net, the sideline, the gauge. This is where you're gauging. You don't need the baseline per se. That's already, the distance you want to get the ball is already established. So when you worry about the ball going out, what usually happens with your players? What usually happens when they worry about it going out? Usually goes out. you know, sometimes. So you're going to net. All right, one more. Couple more. Now, when you see this, keep hitting. Every aspect of technique improves. He's staying through the hitting zone. He's zeroed in. It's more balanced on the hit. There's more control. He's starting to get into a groove. Are you doing it better now, or yes or no? Yeah, he is. I knew that. I'm leading him. You notice right away he starts getting grooved in. That's what's happening when we watch great players, whether they conceptually understand, aware of that or not. Okay? So, of all the great players I played, and I have played a lot, and I've been on the court with I don't know how many. I mean, just in practice, whatever. The number one thing, what do you think the number one thing is that you notice? How big they hit? No. How fast they are? Yeah. How difficult it is to rush them. You think the person has hit a great shot, and they are very difficult. And part of that is the preparation speed, but then on the hit, they're right here in the moment. Okay, now, I got to move. I'm going to run out of time. They'll run me out of town. Split step and golden move. I'm going to cut through this very quickly. The split, remember I said psychologically they're in the moment? And I meant that. You see how after now I've explained it on the visual system, how if the person is focused here on the hit. I'll make this really simple, is that you just tell the person to focus in on when the other person's contacting the ball, timing their split, and right here, that they want to have a target, but they also want to use the net as a gauge, keeping the chin there slightly after the hit. They don't need to know much, but it's very important. Now, we're going to go to the split step. Fastest way I want you to move Alex around pretty hard. The fastest way to improve the split step, to improve anticipation, to improve what I call tennis-specific athleticism, is to focus in. You don't concern yourself with where the ball is going. You focus in on timing the split, on when he's making contact, and a total, complete commitment to getting to every ball. This is the fastest way to perfect the footwork, the split step, by far. It's just very often not used. Okay, so we just watch Alex here. You stand in the corner, you can move him hard. And then just watch Alex, nothing else. Watch the split. Watch. Good, watch. Again. Now, no, that's fine. Now, when they do that, there's all kinds of learning that goes on. The brain recognizes, it makes a commitment to run for every ball. They start to get lower, and they explode to the ball. There are a couple things just to make sure, because I've got to cut this through it. Number one, when the ball is struck, there's a delay between when the eye send the signal to the brain to split, and it actually happening. So when you look on slow motion, it's deceiving. It seems like the split step is later. But the player should be focused and timing their split right before the hit. And then there's a delay. The eye sends the signal to the brain sends it to muscles, and then the response. So they focus on timing the split right before. While they are in the air, the visual system will tell the brain if they're in trouble, which way the ball's going, whether they have to adjust their footwork before they land. Before they land. So the timing of the split, that's why you'll see players look like this. And you'll see them exploding and flowing. Because the brain has already told them, hey, you're in trouble, you got to go. So the timing of the split step is critical, and it's also critical that it is not conscious thought process of where the ball is going. Okay? So the timing of the split and then exploding is absolutely critical. Just do a couple. Now I'm going to move it along here. Now, I'm gonna jump ahead because I want to allow for questions. When you tie in the split, now we know about the split, it's wider than shoulder width apart. You notice the guys seem to be a little wider split than they used to, and very low with the hips as they're exploding. So this move, I mean, you think you know how low it is until you see it on slow motion, and even for myself, these guys are really down low out of the split. That's absolutely imperative that they do that. Then this ties right into the other fundamental. What I say the golden move. This is done on every single ground stroke. Split, turning is almost in the same move. This. Every ground stroke, usually the step out, hips, shoulders turn, out of the split. It's almost like a dance step. Boom, here. So to just talk about the split, no. It's tied in. I call it the golden move. It's a fancy name for the unit turn. However, this is what I see people do with the unit turn a lot. Ready? Turn sideways. No, and heck no. I cleaned it up. The thing is, when you land out of here, the first move needs to include a separation angle between the shoulders and the hips. This is the loading process that at a world-class level, high collegiate level is required. Watch. See this here? Shoulders, hips are turned, shoulders are turned more. This is your golden move, almost every stroke. Okay? So go ahead and hit a few. Just watch for the split in the first move. And this is what slows the game up. That move. And when you see, this is what I meant before. When I see somebody go like this, know right away. They approach like this, they're done because they don't load the first move. They don't look to sink this, get this move. You see somebody do that, you know pretty much they probably got a good stroke. You see this, go look at the draw and see who you play next. No, I'm just kidding. That's it. Let's go. Go ahead. Couple more. Good. Okay. Now, because I'm running out of time and I did want to allow for some questions, the golden move, which is really is a unit turn, but clarified that it includes stepping out and a separation angle between the hips and the shoulders, combined with timing of the split, good upper body posture, very low, and all that. When you do these two things here, combined with the watching of the ball, you are in the moment on the hit, you're in the moment when your opponent is hitting, you are psychologically in an optimum state. Optimum state. It's not easy to stay there. But that's why the split step and the art of watching the ball combined becomes incredible from a psychological perspective and incredibly important from the standpoint of a person staying in the moment, being able to explode and move. Conversely, you will see when they're out of the moment, their split step goes away and their eyes look up on the hit. Very, very simple. In the heat of the battle, you'll see the split step is lost sometimes and the eyes go up. Then you know they're totally out of the moment. Now, I'm going to leave it at that. And so I'm going to wrap it up here. And I'm going to say thank you to Greg. And I'm going to say thank you to Alex. Give him a round of applause.